Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
It's time for the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games at Southern Utah University in Cedar City. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of a Utah sports tradition at utahsummergames.org. Participate in over 50 sports around the state. Then plan to join the opening ceremonies Friday, June 5th, presented by State Bank of Southern Utah. Register today to participate in the 40th anniversary season of the Larry H. Miller Utah Summer Games.
Tomorrow, Beehive Meals opens their new production facility in Ogden. Catch Scotty and the coach live on the air, covering the grand opening with full KSL Sports Zone energy. That's tomorrow, 10 to 2, right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, we are joined now by Krysten Peek, NBA.com and Hoops HQ contributor. Krysten, good morning.
Good morning from Chicago.
Good morning from Chicago. We have questions. I have many questions. Who do you think is the number one pick in the draft? Who do you think the Wizards is the number one pick? Who do they think is the number one pick in the draft? If you were the Jazz, would you trade up? And what price would you pay? There are many questions there. Why don't you start by just taking an easy one? If you think any of those are simple and straightforward, feel free to jump in and answer one.
Well, listen, as soon as I saw the Jazz get number 2, I'm like, this is not going to be easy for them. It's a wonderful, wonderful problem to have, especially in this draft class, because I don't think that the Wizards are going to hold their cards close to their chest, right? Like they probably are going to entertain conversations with Utah, but what they're going to ask for, I don't think the Jazz are going to be willing to give up. And that's going to be Ace Bailey, plus the second pick, plus another asset and a future first. And that is just not going to happen. So, who do I think is going to go first right now? I think it's going to be AJ. And number 2, Darryn Peterson. Cam Boozer is getting a lot of attention of the way he tested so well at the combine yesterday, just with his agility testing and, and shooting. He's obviously not participating in the scrimmages, but there's going to be a ton of smoke, a ton of information coming out in the next 6 weeks or so. But if the draft were tomorrow, I think that's the way it would shake up.
I saw Dybantsa. They do a lot of different interviews, and I think this was with a podcast with Cowherd, and he asked them, do you have a preference? And he just answered very short and brief, whichever team drafts me. And that's literally that's all he said. And I'm wondering, obviously he's got the Utah connection, and that's very rare that anybody of the NBA caliber, let alone the first pick, has as a Utah connection. But I'm wondering if you think that maybe that might be a tie that his people can say to Washington, this is really where we'd rather be. So it might be in your best interest to go with Peterson or whomever.
I know Ace and AJ very well. Ace's father, who's, they elected not to have an agent. And so he's running things, and they also have a business manager. But I don't see AJ or Ace going to Washington. They're not going to do what your Ace did last year and say, we're not working out for anyone except this one team because this is where I want to be. Jaden Ivey did the same thing during the draft year. AJ is not going to do that. He is a competitor. He's a gamer. He's very much outside the box and outside the norm in the realm of, he was the number 1 player coming out. He went to Utah Prep. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Utah Prep in Mesquite.
I have.
It is in the middle of nowhere. And so he's an outlier. He decided to go to BYU and play for Kevin Young, put BYU on the map, make them, kind of like the Mountain Blue Blood of the West. And so he's an outlier. And I think he's going to be someone, he's like, I'm going to play and I'm going to get better wherever I am. So no, I do not see them holding Washington hostage and being like, no, we don't want to play for you. We really want to be in Utah. I don't see them doing that.
Kristen,
Go ahead, DJ.
You're not going to believe this, but do you know how close PK is to the middle of nowhere right now?
I'm about a mile away from Utah Prep.
The Epson Tour.
Sorry, PK. I'm sorry.
The Epson Tour, the road to the LPGA since 1999, is at Copper Rock, which is, how far is that from the middle of nowhere, PK?
It's probably about 3 or 4 miles from where Utah Prep is.
So our station has a lot of sponsors down there in Red Rock Country watching golf and hanging out, and PK is down there to entertain the sponsors with stories about, my guess is the number one pick in the draft is a pretty big topic with the sponsors who are down at that Epson Tour stop right now. That's pretty funny.
I'm sorry. I don't mean middle of nowhere. You have to remember, I live in Utah too. I now live in Vegas.
It is.
It's a nice little town. I've seen photos of the golf course. I know Ace and AJ have played on that golf course. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things,
it is.
No, you're right.
Yeah, it is the middle of nowhere.
No, it's out of the way, and that's the thing that defines AJ. Is he did things that are unconventional. He did go to Utah Prep. He did go to BYU. BYU normally doesn't get those types of guys, obviously, and so I wondered if he thought that maybe that it would just be a desire, not necessarily a demand, but a desire, I guess.
Sure, I'm sure he has a preference. He's never going to talk about it. He knows better. And that's fine. But if the Wizards take him number one, he's going to be fine there too. I mean, it's a big market, and he grew up in Brockton, outside of Boston. He's going to be fine. But yeah, for Jazz fans, I'm sure you would want me to say, "Oh yeah, he's totally going to tell Washington, I want to be in Salt Lake City and that be." But there is no guarantee that the Wizards don't take Cameron Boozer or Darryn Peterson number one too. So maybe it shakes out. They go and they have workouts, and the front office is like, no, DP, you are our guy, or Cameron Boozer, you are our guy, and then miraculously AJ just falls to 2 and everything works out.
Krysten, you've been doing this a while. Anybody who's been doing this a while has heard a lot of crazy stories. And some of them have some truth, and some are wildly entertaining. And sometimes people, it's just CYA time, right? And they got to come up with a story to explain or justify whatever crazy behavior has gone on. So I'm curious, number one, what you think. And number two, more importantly, what you've heard NBA decision makers think about Darryn Peterson, and he missed games at Kansas because of cramping, and it was because of creatine. And he has naturally high levels, and then when he used it, it was too much, and his body couldn't handle it. Are people buying that? Is there some science behind that? Are people rolling their eyes privately? What do you think, and how do you think this is going over?
I thought the timing was very telling. A couple days before the combine, when DP was going to have to go through testing, I thought. And using a platform and a writer like Ramona to get something out there and explain why he was cramping. Look, it doesn't matter if they are rolling their eyes or not. The teams in the top 3, they're going to have their own doctors look at everything in the medical and determine what was right, what was exaggerated, and figure out why he was cramping so much. The full body cramps is real. And what happened to DP was real. He dealt with full body cramps. He had a hamstring issue. He was sick for a couple games. I mean, it was just all bad. And what I know from him as a high school prospect, and actually Jonathan Gavoni went on a podcast and he said, listen, I've seen DP versus AJ in 4 different environments. And I came out thinking DP was the better prospect. And if you look at that first half of that BYU Kansas game, DP scored 18 points in 20 minutes and didn't play the second half. And he was the best prospect between the two of them on the court. So if you want to look at that and buy into that, and then the 2 prolific prep versus Utah Prep games on the grind session in high school, and then you got the McDonald's All-American game. I mean, if you just want to go solely based off the head-to-head stuff between DP and AJ, DP was the better prospect. But over the course of the year and being a gamer and what AJ did in the Big 12 tournament, I mean, AJ solidified himself, I think, in my eyes, as the best prospect. But in terms of, the creatine levels, how high they were, I have never taken creatine, but I would assume that any sort of level that he's talking about where your body shuts down, I think it would be more than full body cramps. And I don't know. It's not up to me and the medical staff to decipher what's true and what's smoke.
So Peterson comes out and says, I'm a point guard. Now, point guard today is different than yesteryear. We understand that the roles have changed. Shooting has become much more prominent. I'm wondering, what was the motivation in saying that? Because Washington has Trae Young. They just got him. And do they want to keep him? I don't know if there's anything involved in that. I'm wondering what you think.
I think it was just like a off the cuff comment because he played so much lead guard when he was healthy at Kansas. And so everyone is saying, oh, he's a shooting guard. And he's more of a combo guard, but coming out and saying, oh, I think of myself as a point guard. I mean, I don't think there's any sort of like secret outlying message with that, kind of like digging or secretly telling Washington, I don't want to come play for you guys because you guys have Trae Young and I'd rather go to, Utah or Memphis. But I think it's just one of those things where it was like off the cusp of, hey, look, don't just look at him as a shooting option. He actually played a lot of point at Kansas.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Hey, sweetie, your mother showed me this Carvana thing for selling the car. I'm going to give it a try. Wish me luck. Me again. I put in the license plate. It gave me an offer. Unbelievable. Okay, I accepted the offer. They're picking it up Tuesday from the driveway. I haven't even left my chair. It's done. The car's gone. I'm holding a check. Anyway, Carvana, give it a whirl. Love ya.
So good, you'll want to leave a voicemail about it. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Insurance isn't one size fits all, and shopping for it shouldn't feel like squeezing into something that just doesn't fit. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they show you options that fit your budget. Enough hunting for discounts, trying to calculate rates, and tinkering with coverages. Maybe you're picking out your very first policy, or maybe you're just looking for something that works better for you and your family. Either way, they make it simple to see your options. No guesswork, no surprises. Ready to see how easy and fun shopping for car insurance can be? Visit Progressive.com and give the Name Your Price tool a try. Take the stress out of shopping and find coverage that fits your life on your terms. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Do you think the Wizards will worry about positional fit? How much will that factor into their decision? There have been some of those decisions been made in the past, and they didn't work out well for teams that made them. It's most teams want to draft the best player available. What do you think the Wizards are thinking?
I think they are not worried about positional fit at all. If you look at what the San Antonio Spurs did, drafting Dylan Harper, and what OKC has done masterfully and just getting their star and Shea, and then getting a bunch of long wings and shooters and two-way players and, your one center with Chet. I don't think there's one position for every player, especially in this draft. You go based off, if the medical clears, workout, how they feel with when they bring the player in, because there's going to be a lot of sense of, okay, no, this fits, this feels good, instead of, okay, we already have a point guard and Darryn Peterson said he's a point guard, so we're going to pass on him. Nobody's doing that in this draft. They're really diving into, the analytics of it, the upside, and, how they project as pros at 24 and 25, being just 19 years old.
I'm wondering if you think this draft has more poker involved. And what I mean by that is teams trying to maneuver, try to get messages out there, that type of thing, because of the fact there isn't a bona fide lock as number one. You can go back, Zion, Anthony Williams, even Cade Cunningham, obviously Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg. We know those guys were going to go number one. And so maybe that might have limited it. Do you find that this draft has an opportunity of teams trying to get stuff out there to make other teams think they want to do this or that?
Absolutely. Not only teams, but agents too, because agents want their players in a certain market as well. And so you're going to see it is officially smoke season. Like we're already seeing it happen. And so I always try to decipher. Listen, I've been burned by a few people in front offices. And so I know now when they tell me something, I take it with a grain of salt because I remember when you told me this 3 years ago, and then you guys ended up taking the player, like you were telling me that. So I would put it out to other teams because I talk to everyone, everybody talks to everyone, and they're just trying to get their agenda set. And so absolutely this year, especially this year, because this is the last tanking year and next year kind of flattens out. I don't think next year's draft is as bad as people are portraying it to be. I do think there is quite a bit of talent at the top, not like this year, but so absolutely we're going to see a lot of smoke. And I'm not going to be afraid to call people on their BS on Twitter like I have recently.
Nice.
There are legendary NBA drafts, 1970, 1984, 2003, multiple Hall of Famers, champions, all that, MVPs, all that kind of stuff. This draft gets talked about like that. But even those drafts had busts mixed in. When you look at the top 4 who seem to have been set aside from the rest of the draft, or maybe you want to go out to the top 8, again, there seems to be kind of a group there at 8 or 9, wherever you want to draw the line. Is there a bust in there in your eyes, or legitimately are people just going to be picking one all-star after another all-star, and you may not get it right, but you can't really get it wrong either?
I don't think there's 8 all-stars in this class. No, not even close. But do I think that there's 8 legitimate rotational, like long-term NBA players in this top 10 in this lottery? Yes. And I mean, I'm never going to call a kid a bust. I'm not here for hot takes. So you asked the wrong person. But I think the player that might need the most time to adjust just because of the physicality and the pace of the game is Keaton Wagler. But you're drafting him based off what he's going to project 2 years from now. After you get him into the system, after you get him to put a little weight on, what he does and his IQ and how he reads the game is why he's going to be drafted 5 to 7.
Yeah, I got a Wooden Award vote, so I made sure that I paid attention to him as he developed, coming, not totally out of nowhere, but didn't have the hype coming in. And I thought that, and I still think, obviously, he's an intriguing prospect to see what he can be in once we get to the turn of the decade. And I think that his upside is really incredible. Same thing can be said about Wilson. Do you think that there's an opportunity that maybe somebody likes him and he even moves up more than where he's projected?
Yeah, look, we all saw the pre-draft video with that Clutch put out of his three-point shooting because that was the biggest knock on his game. He didn't particularly shoot the 3-ball well in the combine. It was fine, but it wasn't as like masterful as we saw in that workout. And that's fine. That's, the agent put out no misses on purpose. But with Caleb, he is just so raw. And the one thing with him, I was watching the draft show and they interviewed AJ, they interviewed DP, they interviewed Cam. They never interviewed Caleb. He is going to feel a certain way about that. Caleb keeps receipts. He kept receipts the entire season before he broke his wrist. He made a point to say, I was on the same team with Darryn Peterson at McDonald's, and he never passed me the ball. So this is why I want to show people why I'm a better prospect than him. And he did. Like they totally took it to Kansas. And then when he was playing Notre Dame, through the handshake line, he said to the head coach, "Hey, thanks for cutting me from the U18 USA basketball team. It motivated me to be the player I am now." So Caleb is going to feel a certain way about not getting interviewed and just people thinking you are the 4th best player in this draft. And you know what? That is the best thing that NBA fans can hope for because he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. And that is the best version of Caleb.
Nice.
Danny Ainge famously traded down in Boston and got Tatum the guy he wanted, let other people trade up, and he got more assets and got the player he wanted. What are the odds the Jazz do that? Is there any chance that they can't get AJ because AJ goes 1 and DP for whatever reason isn't their guy? What are the odds they trade down because they like the players at 3 and 4? Maybe they like Caleb and the chip he's got on his shoulder. That would seem to appeal to Danny Ainge and Austin.
They're not going to trade down. They will just take him.
Yeah.
In this draft, like that was a different draft. That was the Josh Jackson draft, if I'm not mistaken. Like that everyone has blinders. Nobody has blinders on Danny Ainge and Austin anymore. They know what they're doing, and they know that they have their guy, and they're gonna, they're not. Nobody's trading down in this draft. I'm sorry, but from 2 to 4, that's not. They're just gonna take their guy.
Longtime Jazz fans still have that scar from Derek Harper years ago. You go live in Utah and made it sound like it was just a hellhole. And I know management has worked tirelessly to change that perception away from the draft, going big picture in the NBA. How much do you think that perception has changed in that young people, particularly young African-American men, and the people who are advising them would be just fine playing for the Utah Jazz?
Just in the sense where what Ryan Smith has been doing, and with the Jazz culture, now you guys have a hockey team, you made the playoffs. In Salt Lake City, I lived in Murray for 4 years. I mean, it is a growing city, and Ryan Smith and Danny, they're building a culture. And Keontae's out here, by the way, and I just saw him at dinner, and he's here all week. But he loves living in Utah. I mean, the misconception of African-American players don't want to play in Utah because there's no diversity there. I think we've come away from that. And that's because of what Ryan and Danny they've done a great job. Now it's turned to nobody wants to go to Memphis because LeBron James came out and said Memphis is the worst city in the league. So, or Toronto because of the taxes, or Sacramento because that's where players go to die. Like, there's not that stigma for the Jazz at all.
Cool.
We have a guy on the show who says Oklahoma City is the worst stop in the league, but Oklahoma City's got one trophy, and they're 8-0 halfway to another trophy, so that doesn't seem to be bothering them at all. That might just be one person's opinion, too.
Yeah, winning solves everything.
Right?
So if you are on that OKC team, you're thinking OKC is the greatest city in the world.
There you go. Well, Krysten, we appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for joining us and dropping all that draft knowledge. This is what Jazz fans are thinking about driving around town. This is what they're pondering in their downtime. This is what they're talking about the first 10 and last 10 minutes of every meeting. So thanks for jumping into the conversation.
Thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
There's Krysten Peek. You can follow Krysten, former Murray resident, at NBA.com and Hoops HQ contributor. DJ and PK, we got to take a break. When we come back, everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
I'm here on a job site with Tim, who owns his own electrical contracting business.
3 employees and 2 work trucks.
Tim traded up to Geico Commercial Auto Insurance. We're positively here where he needs us most.
They sure are.
With step-by-step help on all his insurance needs, all for shockingly low rates.
Shockingly low, huh?
Just a little bit of electrician humour. Do you get it?
I got it.
You know, it feels like we have a real connection. All right, I'll stop.
Get a commercial auto insurance quote today at geico.com and see how much you could save. It feels good to Geico.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.